Hi, everybody. Today is Wednesday, August 7th. I am Aaron of Sigbeard, and you are at the every other weekly WG K8s Infra meeting. We're all going to adhere to the Kubernetes code of conduct by being our very best selves and not being jerks. And you can watch this video on YouTube later on the WG K8s Infra playlist on the Kubernetes community channel. As always, I'd like us to run through sort of a billing review, walk the board, talk about the items we have in the milestone, and then go to open discussion. So from a billing review perspective, Justin, where are we at with the billing report?
I'm furiously typing to bring it up, but everyone should have got it, or everyone that is subscribed to the mailing list should have got it, which is a very general mailing list, which I don't recall, should have got it in their mailbox on Monday. It should be sent to that mail list every Monday. It still uses Comic Sans. I'm debating swapping it out for a guest font of the week, but it should be pretty accurate. Last time we spot checked it against the actual numbers in GCP, and it was basically close enough, like, you know, some errors around the like 1% type skew, which is pretty much what we'd expect for the cutoff windows. Yeah, so I haven't figured out exactly how to share it with many people, but I can share it with individual type things. And
when we talk about sharing, are we talking about giving other people like edit rights to it?
Exactly, yes. So we haven't really got a good answer on that yet, but we do have the output being very public.
Yeah, so I linked to the mailing list, and yeah, I see it's on the mailing list, so everybody gets it. Papyrus is definitely a great suggestion for a guest font, Tim. I also, they put out a mono-space version of Comic Sans recently. I saw Comic Mono, if we want to go old school.
This is why we need everyone to be able to edit the report.
Yeah, so on that point, like, it would be helpful to understand what it takes for us to get the report locked down to a group that's in groups YAML, so we could do the ACLs that way.
I believe I can actually just share it to any group. I will double check that one before I, what's a group? Yeah, it looks like yes, I could, for example, I could, oh, actually, K8s Infra GCP accounting can currently edit it.
Okay.
If that should not be the case, tell me quickly before people go change the font.
Is there like a README or something that we can add to the K8s.io repo that says, hey, here's what you need to do for accounting for GCP. You need to get in this group and go to this URL, and you know, there's no way to download the YAML for it, but here's how you can go edit it. I
can certainly create said README.
I think that would be great. Just like an accounting directory with a accounting/GCP or readme.gcp or something like that.
It would also be really cool if we could let people, like, streamline it so people can develop their Data Studio add-ons without having to change the original, but I will like sort of come up with a workflow, and then we'd sort of like have a look at it and merge it in type thing, rather than risking the Monday delivery.
So I'm looking at the Cloud Console report, and I really can't tell what reason we have a negative $120 balance.
Sorry, what?
Yes, I sorted it by price descending, and it starts at 0 and goes down from there.
That's with adding the 2 columns mentally or not?
It's just the subtotal column. I mean, I guess I can do the cost column. Here, let's do that. There we go. That's a little bit better. It's like the chunking of the credits and the bills as they get rolled into the accounting system just produces these weird momentary artifacts.
Okay. That's fun. So just so we're seeing the report, this is the one that Justin sent out that said that we've spent about $321 in the past month instead of negative $100.
321. I'm looking for a total. Of course, it's only going to total it doesn't total the column that I want to care about. 182.91, that's 270. I get something slightly more than that, but I'm taking just the last 30 days. Which exact date range is that?
July 8th to August 4th. So you may have slightly more recent data if somebody's done something
July 8 to
super
August
spendy in the last 3 days.
grouped by SKU. I mean, it's in the ballpark.
Okay. So yay. I don't know if we really need to walk through too much more of this. To date, most of our spend has been compute, not much else. Cool. All right, I'll stop sharing that. How much more ballpark closeness do we need to feel confident that like we're done with this?
I'd like to continue spot checking it as we turn more services on, but my confidence right now is pretty high. But when we found that credit issue, right, it made something go wonky and it turned sideways. So as we turn new things on, I'd like to come back and re-spot check it.
Okay. I'm just sort of trying to clarify the definition of done here, because I feel like we have a billing report. It's sent out weekly. Everybody in the group can review it. What we are lacking right now is confirming that people know how to edit the report, because we lack a README.
I'd call that done. Once we get a README or something in place, I'd say this is done.
Yep.
We should add a recurring agenda item for like every other meeting or every third meeting to do a spot check. And, for this next few months, and when we're confident that that's good, then we can stop with that.
Okay.
Does that sound reasonable?
It does to me. Anybody else have any concerns?
That sounds good. I added an issue for Justin as well, so we don't forget.
An issue for what? Sorry.
The README that we were talking about
thank
just now. Yeah.
If you can link that issue in, oh wait, I see it in chat. I'll get to it. Okay. Cool. So next let's run through the milestone. Too many windows. Oh my God. Which I have linked.
Justin, I just posted to chat. If once I figured out how to disable discounts, and I get a number that is 406. So it's close, but it's not spitting.
Yeah, that's way out of like the normal range. So yeah, let's. I will sync with you afterwards and like try to get.
I can send you a screen cap of where it is now, or can you actually get the billing report? You should be able to get the straight billing report if you're in the accounting group.
Okay, I'll give that a go.
I'll send you a URL.
Thank you.
Okay. So here's the board. I have it filtered down to issues and milestone ready to migrate, which is everything we want to do before we're ready to migrate stuff. I'm guessing we don't have any updates on per namespace billing information, which I believe is a feature we need to enable. Last update was June 26th. Tim, you need to play with this.
Yeah, well, as promised, I was on vacation.
Yeah.
So I'm back now. I have quite a number of pull requests that are in my queue. I am tackling them as quickly as I can, but frankly, code freeze stuff is taking priority over this.
Yep. I'm going to bump this down in priority. Okay. Storage analysis. Need analysis of what storage is. Honestly, I feel like maybe we should just find out how much storage is going to cost us by turning this on and seeing it live. That seems like the best simulation of storage traffic and artifact download that I can think of.
I agree with that. We do have some storage like right now, and it's not significant. So like as that becomes more significant, then we'll have to break it down further, I think.
So I'm not necessarily calling this closed, but the way I see this playing out is we really are interested in pushing forward with artifact promotion stuff. And so eventually we'll get to a place where people are downloading those artifacts, and we should presumably see some spike somewhere. And if it's even not that reasonable, great. Then it's not such a spike that we really care about being granular.
Justin, did we get away from your personal credit card stuff yet?
Not entirely. No, not yet. But that is the first non-recurring agenda item.
Okay.
Okay. While I'm doing this, Dims, do you mind, excuse me, do you mind taking notes for any random stuff that comes up here?
Okay.
Thanks. It's super helpful. Okay. Next, things on the area of access management. IAM dump scripts. There's a pull request that's sitting out here that's ready for review. This is going to help us better understand what do we have, what rights does what have, where are we at?
Is it back in Hippie's court, or has he responded?
You have comments, but I think my suggestion is this is very, very, very low on Hippie's priority queue.
Okay. Regenerate. I can, if we want to, it's assigned to me. I will go through all my PRs, and when I get to this one, I will consider approving, and I can make my own changes to his script.
Yeah.
If it's low on his priority list, then we can just do that.
You or anybody else, but I think
Yeah,
like there's a follow-up issue that's like these things need to be addressed, but we're at the let's merge and iterate point with this.
So let me give that a last look when I get to it in my queue, and then I will approve.
Okay. Which is what we would use to take inventory of the Google groups we created, I think.
Yes.
Okay, so I will also leave this assigned to Tim. We had some things in our backlog, which I'll just check whether they still need to be in our backlog at now. One is about using Google groups for fine-grained cluster authorization. And it sounded like we wanted to just punt on looking at this for now while we look at Terraform.
Yes. I request that we leave this open while I figure out the Terraform, which is the other thing in this group that's in my queue, and then come back and decide whether it's worth doing or not.
Okay.
Tim, at least 2 people have tried it out and tried out the Terraform script other than Christoph. So
cool. I would like to, I mean, that's great and gives me good confidence, so I will worry less about whether it works or not. I'd like to understand it for myself.
Yeah.
And make sure that all the flags I expect to be set are being set, which is a tall order because I don't even know what that list is. I have to go back to gcloud and check the list again.
Okay, thank you.
That's all I'm really looking for.
Okay, and then we have sort of a separate issue that's about roles of RBAC roles for access within the cluster, whereas IAM is about access to everything within the project. Again, I'm going to suggest punting on this for now. And we can't run a scraping job until we actually have the script merged to set up the job. Okay, so let's talk Terraform.
It sounds like a lot of people have confidence in it. I need to read it and understand it, and then if we're all good with it, I think that is POR at this point.
Does that sound good to everybody else? What do next steps sound like here?
If this is, I would say, from my point of view, if we're good with it, we turn it on and we shift over. What's the one that we have running? The publisher. And we shift over the publisher to the new repo, and then we start with low-hanging fruit from the old internal cluster, like GCS web and those sorts of easy things, and merge a few of those over, make sure that we're happy with that. And then I would say we would want to build up our playbook. If we're going to start having more people paying attention to it and more people having access to it, I'd like to understand what our monitoring and alerting and reaction is going to be to problems. Right now, it, like K8s.io goes out and it pages me. So I'd say the next step once we have the cluster up is figuring out production readiness.
Okay, so we have an open issue to burn down and recreate the K8s Infra cluster,
Yep.
which is what we would do using Terraform.
Yep.
And migrate all the things over. And then the thought is we would then need to enumerate some follow-up steps around monitoring once we burn things down.
Yes. Anybody disagree with that?
Y'all are so talkative. And you get to watch me make so many typos while I type.
8:30 on a Wednesday, man.
Okay. Do we need to talk about anything else from a cluster management, cluster infra perspective? Nope. Okay, cool. All right, my two favorite umbrella issues, which I really feel like need to be retitled or rescoped, which are about setting up a GCS bucket and setting up a GCR bucket. Dims, you've even unassigned yourself from this one. I kind of feel like I don't even know what this means anymore. I've used it sort of as the proxy for we want to do artifact promotion. And I think it also is related to the fact that GCR is like a loose wrapper over GCS or something like that.
Sorry, I was doing a bulk unassigned, and this was one of those that got, I did that inadvertently. So the GCR GCS seems to be working fine, the process that we have now. I did add an item to open discussion, so we can talk about it later, but I don't think we have anything much left to do here. We have a process, and a few of us are able to run the script, and we are able to, allocate ACLs and give people access to. So we are good.
Okay, so people can get GCS buckets for staging.
Yes.
And anybody else who wants one for other purposes is just going to have to ask us via a one-off process.
Correct.
Until we have a generalized promotion process, what I want to be thoughtful about is whether we're going to give out a bunch of individualized GCS buckets or whether we want to actually have sort of a top-level bucket that we subdivide, subdirectories underneath, which was what the promotion process would provide. And I don't think we've had enough demand for it yet to really say which one we want to do. Does anybody feel like we do? Maybe I'm just ignoring it.
I think we are handling like 70% of the cases right now. So I'm happy. We have the automation stuff working, and we are able to, whoever is coming to us, we can turn around quickly and give them what they need right now. So we are fine. So one example that came out for the one-off was the SIG release team asked for a bucket. And that got handled outside of this process, so which is fine.
I hate saying words like this. It sounds like what's lacking is documentation. Like it sounds like SIG release kind of happened to know the right people to poke and ask real nice for a GCS bucket, but I don't know that we have written down that like, this is a thing you can do. You can ask us for a GCS bucket for special purposes.
Correct. This was more similar to the one-off. We created a GCP project for somebody to try out the Terraform script, right? So this is like that. It's temporary. Right. It's for prototyping, and then it will go away.
I'm hoping that that's going to be sufficient until we have the promotion process in place, or we decide not to do a promotion process, and then we can cover it. But basically, like just too many irons in the fire, and I'm hoping we can postpone that.
Sorry, can you say that last part again? The Wednesday 8:30 in the morning thing hit me.
I feel like I've got too many irons in the fire to make a thoughtful proposal as to how to proceed with that in terms of new groups and new whatevers.
Right.
I'm hoping that what we've done has dampened the fire enough that we can postpone it until we get past the cluster stuff.
So let me see if I can enumerate what I think happens right now. Right now, I think if we give people a GCS bucket, we require that access to that bucket be controlled via a group that is listed in groups.yaml. And so we are saying that anybody can get a bucket, but access to that has to be controlled exclusively by our setup.
I'm saying we have a set of scripts that are well proven now for staging repos, and everything besides staging repos for GCS is ad hoc. We haven't scripted or formalized it at all.
And we create a GCR and a GCS repo, a GCR repo and a GCS bucket at the same time, is my understanding, right?
Right.
So it's
which I don't think is a problem.
No, I think it's good.
So staging, I think, is well understood. We have this enable prod storage script, which we've sort of overloaded for the release side of things, but I don't think that's actually the right answer. Or if it is, it needs to be codified a little bit more.
Out of interest, what's wrong with it?
Sorry?
What is wrong with it?
I mean, it was built to handle the GCR side of things, and then we sort of bolted GCS onto it. It's got a couple of special cases for the test situations, for the prod situations, and I just don't feel like I've thought about it enough to say I'm completely happy with it the way I am with the staging stuff.
But the thing I want to be clear on for the buckets is like, we're not okay with giving like individuals access to buckets. It's more
that's
like,
right.
you get a bucket,
that is correct.
You're going to have to use a group that's defined in our file.
Individuals should not have access to anything, more or less.
Other than via the groups.
Correct.
Yeah, team member groups, yay. Okay, thank you for helping me relearn all of that. Okay, so the GCR thing is kind of like the proxy for how are we doing with container image promotion these days. And 28 days ago, I remember Amy rattled off like this great list of stuff that we thought we needed to do. I see some of these are closed, some of these are open. Is this the relevant list of issues to walk through our current blockers for image promotion?
It would help to enumerate exactly.
Yeah. Let me open them up.
The first one, yes, on that list.
Okay, so disaster recovery plan. Figuring out what that would be.
So this one, I keep dropping the ball. I'm sorry about that. It's on my like to-do list of like figuring out like a Google Doc for the options that we have. But yeah, let me know if it's like someone else wants to do it, or if it's like an absolute blocker. But I'm still trying to make sure that I get this done. So basically, the idea is for the K8s IO buckets, there like if the image promotion process like accidentally deletes it, there's like no way to recover that. And some of the proposed options were basically just replicating the underlying bucket as the underlying bucket as a game plan set by C. Blecker. So yeah.
I mean, so I don't know how quickly this needs to be done, but as far as like this being a blocker, it's probably the last thing that should be done in terms of like priorities, mainly because we still don't have the E2E tests running. That's probably further down in that list, Aaron, if you go down.
Okay.
So this is like, this has been talked about at length, but really for implementing this like fully with a solution, working solution, like with tooling and stuff to do backups, I don't know how hard that'll be or how easy it'll be. I haven't scoped it. I don't know if anybody in this meeting has like thought of how much work that would involve, but I would think that any backup disaster recovery like solution, you know, having a well-engineered solution would take some time, something more than a week or two. But
I I think we could very quickly build what I would call a very, very bad backup solution, which is
Very bad.
like a loop over them all in Docker save, which I know is going to be horrifically inefficient, but
Okay.
it's storage, so it's not as expensive. But I mean, because it's horrifically inefficient because it wouldn't dedupe.
Yeah.
But it would work.
Does anybody else have more ideas on this topic? Because I actually have 5 minutes of battery power left on my laptop, and
Okay, we'll move on. I think it's a blocker, but I agree it's maybe like the last thing. But I kind of don't want to turn on a tool and point it at prod without a plan to like recover prod if prod magically disappears.
I mean, right? Like, so you would, like, how do you qualify that the backup plan or backup solution like works flawlessly?
You do a restore into a target and you verify that it matches what you think it should match.
I mean, exactly, yes. But like to do that over, I don't know, to actually have that happen over many on the real thing, or with the kind of volume that we have with the, you know, in Google containers having many, many images, how long it'll take, like how robust is it? Will it, you know, does it recover if you kill it halfway through the thing while it's, you know, doing the snapshot, you know, 70% through, and like all of those considerations I think have to be thought out. But anyway,
Yes.
I am going too much into this.
No, I hear your points. So we'll require further discussion, but let's see how much further we can move this boulder.
Just one quick note, though. I would like to re-echo Tim's comments on this originally, which was we should have something, even just like a written set of instructions of this is how you know, do a manual backup or something. Like that would be the first like step, I think. Short of having an actual solution implemented, just having an official policy or like a README or something, that's way better than nothing. So, yeah.
Okay. It is kind of unclear to me where we are at with protecting promotion credentials, or this also feels like it's slightly lower on the priority stack. So,
yeah, this is.
I can blow the text up to help us read better.
I'm sorry, guys. I gotta drop off. I just realized it's the half hour. We've got something else right now, and I have to be there.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm honestly not super clear what this is about, and suggest we punt on this, because right now I think it's like we run something container image promoter related in a trusted place.
Yeah, this is like, I guess, more security related.
Yep.
So I guess it's technically not a blocker per se.
Okay. So we're punting on backup, we're punting on security. This is going to be super reliable. It's great. Test Google Service account. We made the thing. All right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. The service accounts already exist. Going to close this unless there are any comments. Okay. Make the promoter act recursively for all manifests found under a directory.
Oh, this is done. I don't know why it's still open. I should have closed it. Thank you.
I have the rights to do this.
Linus,
Hey.
did you promote the code recently? Well, did you update the image that is behind the image promoter thing?
That's actually running. No, not yet. I think there will be a couple more changes to how we invoke this new functionality. I think the multi-run script that we have, that shell code, is probably not as useful anymore, even though it does like this Git optimization thing where it only runs against the manifests that have changed. Like the way the new code works, like it does some optimizations of as far as like making as few read calls against the repository as possible. So I don't think we even need any more shell code. So that's going to be changed. Sorry, I have 2% on my battery meter. the one update I have is so the other missing piece here is like turning on E2E tests and making sure that it works for the actual use cases that we do use it for. So the current E2E test that I have in the E2E binary is just a single promotion against one manifest. I need to add another test case that has, multiple manifests, and like I just need to add more test cases and to turn that on. I don't know if we have an open issue for that, but that's like the next thing, or the thing I'm currently working on. I hope to finish it like this week.
Okay. There's this Google Doc that Amy wrote a little bit ago, and I will keep this open until we feel like we've got an E2E testing plan. So this will be how we come ask you, hey, do you have all your E2E tests written?
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna have to drop off or I might drop off any moment now. It's on 1%.
Is there anything else from your perspective that we're not talking about related to artifacts stuff?
I mean, the update from Justin is that he merged his code for like file promotions into the promoter. So it's a different binary, but I think later on we'll probably put that behind a common interface like CLI. Maybe we'll use Cobra or something for flag handling to unify it under one like interface. But that's the only other update as far as the promoter repository.
Okay. Go save your battery.
Oh, it's at 0%. It keeps going. That's amazing. I've never seen that before. Okay, well, I'm going to drop off here. So thank you for the time.
Okay, I feel like that may be everything that I need to walk through on the board. Is there anything somebody really wants to talk about on the board that we haven't talked about yet? As I scroll away from the board. Going once, going twice, and I'm going to stop sharing my screen about the board. Hooray. Okay, so next up on the agenda, open discussion. Justin, the things that Linus was talking about. Let's start publishing binary artifacts. Let's stop having you pay with your personal credit card for binary artifacts. Is that what this is?
Yes, this is indeed that subject which is near and dear to my heart. We now have an image promoter, or a binary promoter in the container image promoter. We have a work in progress PR to use that for some COPS binaries. We actually have the prod bucket set up right now, so it will serve right now on artifacts.k8s.io. I need to follow up with Tim to find out like more about why he was unhappy with it. It sounded like he was more unhappy with the structure than any like. I will confirm with him. Of course, my understanding is we were going to do that and then see how it goes, and whether we need to then like change the structure. And COPS is fine with that. We have a sort of way of a mirror doesn't have to have the artifacts on it. A secondary mirror doesn't have to have the artifacts on it. So this would be a secondary mirror. So if it goes away, that's not a big deal for anyone. And we can basically start to get traffic and start to understand how it works. So I was hoping to do that. The two big blockers that I know are, well, we'd actually need to get like the promoter, the file promoter into a cron job or whatever, however we're running the container promoter. And we would need to get billing reports, which we can do more when we actually have something to report on. Like we have the aggregated billing reports today on GCS utilization, but it won't. Once that number grows, we'd like to probably break it down, drill down into it, which we can do once we have traffic. And then today we are uploading, or the file promoter does not compress artifacts, which is sort of leaving a trivial optimization on the table to like do the magic dance that enables transparent compression so that clients can just request it and it will be served compressed if the clients specify accept gzip.
That all sounds fine to me. I didn't necessarily see an issue for running the same place as the image promoter, but that sounds completely unobjectionable to me.
Yeah, I guess actually we're going to have to move it into a different directory. So Linus and I agreed to split the file promoter into a separate binary. So we now have to run a different binary executable. I'm guessing that therefore we should split it out into a separate directory, which will be good anyway, because currently the directory is called like k8s.gcr.io. So now we can have like GCS and it will be more logical, and I will repoint my PR to that. But I will also create an issue to create I guess it's actually a proud job, create a proud job to trigger on approved PR or merged PRs to that.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I feel like I have zero idea of how any of this stuff works. I don't really know that there's like a design doc that describes what's happening here.
Oh, how what works? I'm sorry.
Like the user guide to image promotion, binary promotion, et cetera, et cetera. But I'm fine with this proceeding as is. Like my goal here is not to block us, but I'm feeling like stuff is happening with not really that much like upfront documentation, description of the design, that sort of stuff. But this sounds cool. Like I'm very fine with us just turning it on and then seeing what happens billing wise within a week. I find it difficult to believe that we would really blow through that much of our credits in a week's worth of downloads. To be like wildly surprised, right?
It will be substantial compared to the current billing. It should be 2 orders of magnitude higher.
That sounds great.
Yes. But I will also do a description of how so we want a proud job with a README, a description of the architecture for the file promoter, which doesn't have a name yet. So yes, that is up for naming. And I guess like a description of how to use it, right? Like when you want to like promote binaries, this is what you do, like a user-facing guide.
I don't know, Dims, what are your thoughts? Like this is me, like I kind of haven't really looked at any of this in the past 2 weeks, so.
Yeah, so my take on this is when we get the first few sets of users, we can iterate over the documentation itself. We definitely should have some minimum stuff, but you know, this is going to be iterative. It's going to take a little bit of time. So I'm okay with iterating.
Okay, that sounds fine. I think I was just expressing my issues. Nothing specific with this task. It sounds cool. Let's go forward with it. But I'm getting a sense that it would be good to refresh our docs. So okay, on that note, anything else for Justin's? Okay, Dims, what's working and what's not working yet?
So just to give you an idea of what were the kinds of requests we got in the last couple of weeks. So DNS requests, Netlify URLs, updates to existing DNS entries. I'm able to run it. Christoph is able to run it. Tim is able to run it. So one of us pick up the PR, merge it, and then run the job by hand. So that's working out fine. Then the next one that is working well is the update to the groups for the ACLs. That's working fine as well. There was one hiccup where there was an update to a group, but the ACL didn't get reflected in the bucket for some reason, and Tim had to recreate the bucket for it to actually, and we couldn't figure out exactly why. Who was it? There was somebody who was, Jason Ditiber was trying to upload an image and it wasn't getting uploaded, even though he had previously uploaded an image a couple of weeks ago. So the bucket had to be recreated essentially, and we still don't know why it went bad. Other than that one hiccup, the rest of the uploads to the staging GCR repositories went fine. I haven't heard any other instances. Then the other one was promotion from the staging repository to production. There were a couple of hiccups. There was at least some code changes from Linus, which went in and we promoted the image promotion image for the pro job to pick it up, and it got stabilized. So in the meantime, what we had to do was retry running the pro job, and we had to ping test infra to rerun the pro job. And that took care of some of the issues until the changes from Linus landed. So it wasn't too bad. We just had to ping test infra, the on call in the test, in whoever is on call, and get them to rerun the pro job. So and we knew where to go look for the pro job output, so we could go check if the pro job succeeded or not. I wish there was a better way to do this, but this is fine for now. At least we have the logs, and Jason could go by himself and go look at the logs and see if the pro job succeeded or not. So it's fine.
I will say just real quickly on that point that one of my teammates, Randa Christ, is working on like a rerun button that you can push. We're still trialing its rollout, so it's still the same set of people, but we are trying very diligently to click a button instead of run a script. It's really painful for some of us. But then ostensibly we can roll that out so that other groups of people can rerun other specific jobs.
Do we have GitHub authorization set up so people in the K8s org could get the button enabled or something like that?
I am not intimately familiar with it off the top of my head. I know there was an email sent out to Kubernetes dev, and there are likely issues on test infra that I could point your way later for follow-up. But the intent is to describe like a team of people, this set of jobs.
Got it. Okay. So I talked about the groups. I talked about the staging repositories. I talked about the image promotion. All these things I'm able to do. Now, what I want to do is to see if we can get somebody else as well. So right now it's me, Christoph, and Tim who take care of these requests. But over a period of time, I want to add more people to it. If anybody else is interested in this kind of stuff, please let me know, and we'll try to get you into. So we should have like a rotation on call, similar to on call, I guess. And somebody, because at some point we'll have to come up with an SLA. How long is it going to take? Who's going to be able to do it and stuff like that.
So elsewhere, I am gonna reach out to the product security team to ask them about the Ops Genie instance that they use to better understand if that is something that folks like us could use for on-call rotations. To also grow the pool of people who can answer the test infra on-call bat signal. And my other thought here is handling DNS requests certainly sounds like it's a person as a service type of deal. And I'm wondering like what is preventing us from having that be, yet another post-submit proud job that runs when the changes merge, go full GitOps. Like in theory, declarative. So we restrict who can approve the configuration change, but then the bot actually executes the change.
Yeah, so we have to You're absolutely right. Just like the image promoter pro job, we should be able to set something up. So one thing that we were trying to be careful here is, can we set up? First of all, we need to create a. Let me back up a little bit. So we need a GCP project where we can have a trusted pro cluster. Right? So we could load it with the secrets and not have to give it to the test infra folks, right? And then use the common pro to run jobs in our trusted pro cluster. Do you see what I'm saying?
I do.
So that was one way to do it. The other way to do it is like similar to the publishing bot, where all we are running is like running a deployment or a pod where the publishing bot is just looping and waiting for incoming requests and kicking things off. That would be the easier way to do it. But then the problem with that is the logs are not available to the people who, the pro jobs, the logs are available so people can go inspect. So, and that will be missing if we do it the way the publishing bot does things.
Okay. I am pretty sure that we could have a discussion maybe with SIG testing folks to figure out like what the most appropriate path forward is.
Yeah, absolutely. So that'll be good.
Which with my SIG testing hat on, I will advertise the fact that our meeting is now an hour long every other week. So we would probably have room to talk about this Tuesday at 10 a.m. Pacific.
Okay, I'll be there.
Like I'm not opposed to opening up the pool of people. I know I definitely would like to be one of those people. I keep getting pulled off to other stuff. But certainly the group and DNS handling stuff sounds like toil that we can automate away.
Right. There is some gotchas here too, right? For example, when we get requests for a specific project to be created, a GCR bucket, right? The length of the string of the project name has to be like within a specific thing. So essentially what happens is I try things out, and if I see a failure, I tell people to go fix whatever they submitted in the PR, right? So if it's a post job, then we will have to like create new PRs to fix the previous problem kind of thing. So it will be somewhat of a problem until we stabilize all the input validations, especially the problem with the GCR, GCS is people are updating scripts right now. It's not YAML files, right? So we don't even know what the changes in the scripts people are going to make.
Yeah, so I agree. It's appropriate to grow the pool of people who can like help figure this out. And the set of people who are showing up to this meeting may be the most motivated people of all. If you're interested in helping out, because I know Dims and Christoph and Tim are names that I see everywhere. So the like less bottlenecking we can do on incredibly high traffic people, the better off we will all be. But to your comment about an SLA, I feel like we are very, very, very early days before we can get to that. Because we are still like experimenting and figuring things out. So I think it's perfectly reasonable and appropriate to say like we're still kind of operating on a best effort basis. And if you are somebody who feels like this project requires an SLA, we would welcome and encourage your participation to help us get to the point where we can articulate and measure, SLIs, SLOs, SLAs, whatever SL letter you want to use. Does that a fair stance?
Yeah, that sounds good. And that's all I had.
Okay. I think that's 7 minutes left if everybody wants to take it and do whatever. Cool. All right. I don't think I have anything else other than to say happy Wednesday to all of you. Great to see you all again. I'll see you in
Bye,
2 weeks.
everyone.
Oh, yeah, the shirt, by the way. I just felt like I needed to do it because today is my work from home day because of meetings. So I'm going to unite with you all separately in my own home.
Sounds good. Bye.
All right. See ya.
Bye.